Hello YouTube, and welcome to my channel. So you'll notice that I haven't done videos in the last little while, and I am mentally and emotionally exhausted beyond belief, but I thought I had to make a video. And this is not going to be about crystals. I will be doing a video about crystals next week, but this is more of a serious video. Before I get started, I want to state some warnings in advance. I will be using the appropriate words in this video, and I will be discussing my full and honest opinion pertaining to Shane Dawson, James Charles, David Dobrik, and YouTube, the company, as well as other social media platforms that allow these creators to continue to be on them. I want to talk about this because this is some very serious and very heavy stuff. We need to talk about it because I am sick and tired of seeing people making money continue to get away with crimes like this and not be actually properly punished for it. So I just want to start that off. I do understand that this video is probably not going to go anywhere. YouTube does not promote videos that utilize the proper words, and I also understand that this video probably will not go anywhere because I'm only a channel of 12 subscribers and I don't expect it to get big. But I need to say 90 cents to get things off of my chest personally, and to also try to evoke a change where I feel like we need to start making change happen that can also start to make positive change happen in society. So let us begin by discussing what these creators have done and why they need to face certain consequences that I think would be the best option. Okay. Shane Dawson, as most of us know, has been extremely racist throughout his past and in a lot of his history. A lot of his videos that he made utilized blackface, jokes about the races, and so much more. He belittled people, he looked down on them, and he treated them as nothing less than dirt. The other thing is that Shane Dawson also sexually harassed and potentially even assaulted some people in convincing them to perform certain acts, do certain things on cameras, and much more. While these people were his fans, the problem is that they were his fans. One of the hardest things for fans to separate is the fact that this creator is an individual. They're going to do things that are different from what you see in the video. What I am like behind this camera is completely different from how I am on the camera. And that is something important to keep in mind when it comes to Shane Dawson, as well as David Dobrik and James Charles. But we're going to focus on Shane for the time being because I really have to discuss this. Everything that Shane Dawson had done, all of the disgusting talks of what a young child should do when they get to the age of puberty, how to masturbate and things like that, is really disturbing. He literally groomed his audience to meet a specific standard of what he wanted them to be like. And the thing is that Shane Dawson's very much had this idea of the way that he wanted the world to work in his mind. When you read his book, I Hate My Selfie, you see it 100% in that book, how he wanted the world to manifest it in the way that he wanted it to be. And for some weird reason, Shane Dawson sees nothing wrong with this. There is nothing wrong with the way that I think and the way that I act and the way that I perceive things. But the fact of the matter is that there is something wrong, very highly wrong, when you are pushing this as a narrative for your fan base to follow. Because then your fan base starts to mimic you. They start to say, no, this is okay, it's not really bad. And it becomes a problem because they don't understand what the difference is between right and wrong. It's the same mentality that cult leaders and even some religious leaders will push to make people subservient and obedient to them. So, this is why I find it so frustrating that his videos are still on the platform. Why are they on the platform still, YouTube? Why haven't you deleted his channels? Now, a lot of you might say, well, it wasn't that bad what he did. It was atrociously bad. He belittled so many people for so long. And while he might have changed his content a little bit to fit a more, positive looking narrative, he still had made terrible things. And I won't deny it. I fell for the more recent video that he did on Jeffree Star. I thought, oh, he is changing and Jeffree Star's changing. But then I noticed how there wasn't change and how they weren't changing. They were just manipulating and editing the videos in such a way to make it look like, hey, I did change. You guys love us, right? You love us so much that you'll buy the Conspiracy Theory palette. And they won. They won. It's heartbreaking that they did, but they won. For that time, they did. And they're still winning because YouTube won't take down his videos. YouTube won't delete his channel. And I'll explain why that's the case after I talk about the other two who've caused some serious problems. Dawson's kind of getting forgotten about, which makes it seem like he's more willing to try and come back to this platform. And I really plead with you, YouTube, delete everything that he built and make it so that he cannot come back to this platform. There's a point where people can change, but then there's also a point where you have to understand that if somebody's really good at manipulating others into thinking that they changed, then they're never going to really change. Because they'll just know what pretty words to use, what pretty effects to use, and how to make it fit their narrative so that you, a viewer or a fan, will continue to support them, even though they really haven't changed. And I feel like some cases, and Shane Dawson is one of those cases, I feel like you have to take everything away from them for them to really understand, I messed up. I need to change. And if you don't do that, then they don't learn. He has to understand that there are consequences to your actions. Not just, oh, you get some beratement. And the thing is that there's a possibility that he could come back because of some recent stuff with James Charles, where people are going to be like, see, he was right, and so much more. And so I just really, really need to just state, we have to take him off this platform. When it comes to deplatforming, I definitely stand behind it, and I will explain why after I discuss the next two. David Dobrik, or the Vlog Squad as a whole, are terrifyingly disgusting. David Dobrik seemed like the good guy, the squeaky clean image, the guy that stood up against the bullies and really was just this fantastic hero in the eyes of YouTube. He created multiple videos with multiple different creators, and he dated Liza Koshy, and he worked with Trisha Paytas, who has been very vocal, talking about this a lot on her podcasts that she shares with Ethan Klein called Frenemies. And I would definitely suggest to watch their videos further about this so that you get the full context of what everything and everybody involved. David Dobrik recently released his apology video after he started losing his sponsors and brands. This is where it gets infuriating. Why after? Why not before? And he did release an apology video before. He just kind of hid it in his apology. He pulled up, I forget the name of the doctor, but the doctor who decided that, oh, I don't need to follow the COVID-19 regulations, so I'm not gonna. And then he made that apology video. And it was so terrible. Oh my gosh. So many people. So, David Dobrik committed an atrocious crime. This severe crime dealt with him allowing his friend, oh dear God, I just got a mouthful of the vanilla syrup from the coffee. Ooh. Back to seriousness. And I apologize, I do like to skip around sometimes, take my mind off of things, because this one weighs really heavy on me, because I am a victim of rape and sexual assault. And it's why I have never been able to have any kind of relationships, because I just don't know how to see people as people anymore. Instead, I see them as enemies and a danger to me, and I seek to react in that way. So when it comes down to David Dobrik, it's going to be a little bit harder, so give me a little bit of time. David Dobrik recently had a complete article written by The Insider, and I think that her name is Kat, or Kate. Please, if you can, go read it. There is a free version that you can read, and it will tell you about everything that these poor girls had gone through, the trauma, the fear, and the desire to be noticed by their favorite creator, David Dobrik. So, let's begin. David Dobrik and the Vlog Squad literally are the epitome of a fraternity house. I want to say this: fraternities and sororities need to end. They need to be completely disassembled. There is nothing about them that even goes back to what the actual Greek belief and Greek system were, because the Greeks were never really like that. Yes, there were a lot of Greeks who had orgies, I won't deny that, but they had the orgies fully consensual. There was nobody being drunk or being drugged or being forced into anything that they didn't want to do. And while this did happen back then, because let's be honest, historically rape and sexual assault is a very, very common thing, the fact of the matter is that the Greeks actually had a severe punishment for those who did commit rape. So it's very important that you do realize this, because we seem to have lost that, and fraternities and sororities have just become sororities. Sororities. That's gonna haunt me. Sororities is just disturbing, because we really, really have to look at the fact that they need to be removed. But David Dobrik and the Vlog Squad legitimately was the biggest fraternity on YouTube. They did everything fraternities do. Get people extra drunk, convince them to have a little bit of a sex time with each other, and then commit rape and sexual assault against them. Groom them, make them feel like they can't escape, make them feel unsafe, and then lead them away from people who they could be protected by. David Dobrik committed a heinous crime because he filmed everything. He allowed for it to happen by being present, even being used as a tool to convince these girls to go to Dirty Dom's apartment. He allowed it to happen 100%, and he saw nothing wrong with it. Now maybe he could argue that Dirty Dom, told him that they consented, whatever, but the fact of the matter is that, David, you set it up so that it would happen. It wasn't just because of Dirty Dom. You played a huge part in this. And the thing is that you're not getting it until you lose your sponsors and brands, and that's fine. But you're now sitting here saying that you still want to make content, you still want to create videos, but that you'll change. You really don't get it, do you? You have to change. There has to be, at some point, the realization that what you did was wrong. That what happened, what led up and allowed for things to happen, is wrong. And it's not just these girls. I want to talk about Seth as well. Whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. You can still be sexually assaulted and raped nonetheless. It is a very real thing that happens to both. And I just want to state that it happens to all genders. It's not just one specific gender. And it is important that we still acknowledge the fact that that happened, that he was extremely uncomfortable, that he didn't want to be a part of it, and that it was easy in a lot of ways for David to manipulate things just so that he could make money. And then he knew that people really want money. Let me talk about somebody else who knew this. Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I'm gonna put him up there with that. Thing is that when people really have a desire to either get clout from this famous celebrity or to get money or get a free Tesla, they will do things that they would never normally do in life just for that chance. It's how a lot of people sometimes will get swindled into doing things that they wouldn't have otherwise. Or they'll just do something because, hey, $1,500, despite this being a life-scarring experience, you still have $1,500 that can help you out with a lot of things. So you're more willing to do it because you really need that money. Or you're more willing to do it because you really need those views. You need that clout, man. The problem is that David Dobrik is well aware of that. He knew that he was really freaking popular on YouTube. Not just YouTube, multiple social media sites. I've seen videos of his up on Instagram that I never wanted to see because I'm not a fan of David Dobrik. Never was. And I didn't see the appeal of him because he was too much of a freaking frat boy. Do you get where I'm coming from? It was so disturbing because David had zero respect for anybody. David was literally looking for ways to get views and clicks. That was his main thing. He didn't really care if anybody got hurt or anything. He only cared about the clout. He cared about the money. The more money he could make, the more he could get brands and sponsors to continue to support him, the better off he was. This is why, YouTube, you need to remove his channel. You need to remove all of David's channels. I know that he has more than one. Same for Shane Dawson. You need to remove them all. Because David's not going to learn otherwise. The last one that I want to talk about, and then I want to talk about YouTube. And then I want to talk about deplatforming and why it is completely acceptable for it to happen. James Charles was accused of manipulating boys into sexual acts and sexual text messages, utilizing different types of social medias. But the most prominent one that was brought up the most is Snapchat. Now, mind you, there have been 6 victims. That's right, 6 victims who were underage, who were approached and then sexted by James Charles. Maybe James doesn't deserve jail, but you need to go to a mental institution to get help. Because the problem is, James, is that you do see children as sexually arousing. And you even said it in a podcast. You stated specific ages, but the thing is that you said you only want to date boys that are younger than you. You're 21. How much younger are you looking for? Apparently, way younger. And while he could still argue this whole thing of like, they lied to me and blah, 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 James, you're the adult. First and foremost, you don't have to respond to a text message. You don't have to. It's amazing, right? You don't have to actually respond to a guy being naked in the shower saying, "Hi, James," or anything stupid like that. You don't have to do that. But you did. You made the decision to send back sext messages to these kids. And then you decided to blame the kids for what you did. It is atrocious. When you were still a teenager, your brain does not have the full mental capacity to understand what is right and wrong as easily as you would love to think. Sorry, teenagers, you just don't. Even when you're 19, you still have that real big struggle. When you hit 20, you start to develop some better cognitive understanding, and that's why the age of 21 is the age in which you can legally drink. It's because your brain at that point has developed far enough that you can handle alcohol without it having too severe of an impact on your brain. But until then, they are kids. They don't understand the consequences of their actions that well. So you as the adult, James, as soon as you got that text message, should have been the adult and stopped. Just didn't respond. Didn't even look at it. Just ignored it. Deleted it. And then blocked them. You claim and you accuse them of clout chasing, but James, they're your fans. Of course they're gonna clout chase. Wow, the wind just picked up. That's what happens when you become famous. Your fans idolize you. They see you and they're like, I want to be like James. And so then they keep thinking about ways that they could build themselves up. And yeah, talking to you, getting you to acknowledge them is a way for them to feel like they're one step closer to achieving what you have. You have to be some kind of stupid if you don't understand that. And if you really don't understand that, James, then this is a bigger and better reason for you to not have a platform on social media at all. Because you do not understand the responsibilities that it takes to be famous. To YouTube. You make me depressed and disgusted at the fact that they get away with this. You have not removed their channels. You haven't removed their videos. Well, you may have demonetized them so that they can't make money off of their own videos anymore. You still make profits off of it. You still make money off of them. It is not okay that is what happens. See, when companies realize how much money they can make off of a YouTube creator, they really, really desire to keep that money. And so they won't actually take action against these creators because they know that as long as people keep clicking on their videos, they'll keep making money. But they can stop the creators from getting their money, and that'll be good enough, right? Wrong. Because YouTube, the fact of the matter is that you can preach how you really are there for victims, how you care, but then when actually something happens where a creator has victims, you make the decision to not pull the plug on them. And I get it. People argue, well, they're creative expression, First Amendment rights, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about that. Creative expression, First Amendment rights. You're not wrong. People are still allowed to have creative expression. Unless if you're Dr. Seuss, and then some of the books that are racist will stop publishing altogether. Now, mind you, if somebody has that book, they're not gonna go to that person's house and burn the book, or demand that they have to give the book back. You own the book at that point. If people so chose to download these videos and keep them or re-upload them themselves, that is their video at that point. It is no longer David Dobrik's video, nor is it YouTube's video. It is their video. So I wouldn't suggest sharing it, though. That's copyright infringement. But if you chose to download those videos and keep them yourself, then you have the right to do that. That is something to keep in mind. But removing these videos, because there were some serious victims involved in these cases, is not going against the First Amendment or the creative use. It is stating that we understand that for the victims, this can be severely traumatizing to continue to leave these videos up. And we made the decision to remove these videos and the content herein so that we as a company no longer will profit off of these videos. People have lost their jobs and everything off of smaller things than this. Yet that sometimes is the most proper action to take, because sometimes people need a real big wake-up check to understand and realize that you have a responsibility when you take on millions of followers. You have a responsibility. And the fact that you've abused that responsibility for money is disgusting. I also find it really depressing because they did something so serious. But they're not taking time away. They're really not. And there's a lot of things that bothers me about South California. Southern California, specifically Los Angeles city area, really bothers me because there's some laws that are absolutely outrageous. These laws exist specifically because of Hollywood and because the big multi-million, billion-dollar producers and directors really, really have that in the grasp of their hands. Because if they change the laws, they can be arrested and put into a regular jail. Not the fancy posh jail that Harvey Weinstein's in. And that disturbs them. They don't want to face consequences of their actions. But for once, I would love it if we could make the rich face actual consequences. They're rich. Them losing the platform should not affect them. If they know how to properly handle their money, they'll be okay. They'll be just fine. And once they've really actually changed completely, then they can come back. But YouTube, you gotta make this decision. You have to take this seriously and really look into these creators. What have they done right? What have they done wrong? Now what can you do to fix this? And if you can't do anything, or you claim your hands are tied, let me just state, you are a part of the problem. It makes me sad to say that, because I've been on YouTube since 2005. I know it doesn't look like it, 12 subscribers. The YouTube account that I had was Mythical Twist altogether, small letters altogether, and it was hacked, and I lost the 10,000 subscribers I had on there. That was a very sad day because I was one of the top creators on YouTube back then. So I had to start over, so I started over, and this is the new channel, and I just never did anything on it because I liked watching creators who I wanted to support. But I know that some of those creators that I really liked, they made huge mistakes. But a lot of them fixed it either by not even bringing it up in videos and actually working with the people and fixing it and making things better and right on behind the screen, or they actually proved how they could be better people on the screen itself. Deplatforming is not a bad thing. You're not taking away their money. Let me state that. If these creators are as good with their money as they claim to be, you're not taking away their money. You're not taking away anything aside from them having to reevaluate their lives completely, to start to realize, what kind of people do I really surround myself with? What kind of thoughts do I really honestly have? And am I a good influence on others? I will be linking down below in the description some other YouTubers. I really strongly suggest that you go check them out. Their videos are phenomenal. They talk very in depth about this. They explain a lot of things. They do a far better job of being eloquent, unlike me, who just is straight up like, take them off, get rid of them forever, pretend that they never happened, and let's actually see them change. So they're a lot nicer than me. But I would definitely suggest, please go support them. Please give them your views. Please talk to them and interact with them in their videos. I also will be linking multiple charities as well as programs that you can donate to help those who are victims of sexual assault, rape, and abuse. I think it's important that we don't just keep letting this thing happen. There's a statistic studies of 1 in every 6 women will experience being raped or sexually assaulted once in their life. And I want to say that out of the multitude of women that I've met throughout my life, only 2 had never experienced rape or sexual assault. This is a very serious thing that sadly still keeps happening. And for some dumb reason, these creators are getting away with committing serious crimes. I also want to link down below, specifically for those who live in the Los Angeles area. I want you to talk to your representatives about laws pertaining to rape and sexual assault, getting those changed so that victims have a little bit more safety. Because I am really sad when I look at those laws, because you're Los Angeles, you're supposed to take care of people better, but because of Hollywood, it really didn't happen. So I definitely have those linked below. Please go check them out. And I leave you with this: if you have ever experienced anything like this, please know that speaking up and saying that it's happened to you does not make you weak, does not mean that you are not the one handling the issue yourself. Nothing like that. It means that you are taking the step in the right direction to protect more women and those of different genders from being hurt by that person again. Please keep standing up for yourself. To those of you who do it for clout, have at you, because at the end of the day, your truth is going to come out and people will never listen to you again. Go ahead and cry wolf. But let me just remind you, once you cry wolf, it's going to be hard for people to listen to you when you're actually in trouble. And to those of you who had the courage to come out, thank you. I hope you find healing. And I hope that you find the love that you need and to be able to grow and recover from this. I know this is a long video. I plan to shoot another one tomorrow, hopefully. Who knows, maybe I might shoot it later today. I'm going to be going back to my crystals video. I will be doing a video on pendulums and how and why they work. Thank you again for watching. I will talk to you later. Goodbye.